Good afternoon, everybody. This is Steve. Welcome to the Little Wood Shop and our Sunday evening blog. Well, as part of our 4-week series, we thought we'd finish off number 5, which this is the last one. It is coming to be that time of the season again. So this Sunday evening's blog is titled CNC Small Business Tax Deductions. Okay, yes, we all love the tax man, I know. Okay. CNC Small Business Tax Deductions, and I've got my script right here to try to keep it as timely for everyone as I can. It is the reduction of taxable income the federal government is able to tax you on. It will either ultimately reduce your tax bill, what you owe, or if you're filing a loss, it will help increase your tax refund. You accomplish this by itemized deductions. Remember, paper trail, receipts, paper trail, so on and so forth. Document everything. The deductions are specific items that relate to your business only. Goodness gracious, I can't tell you this enough. And before we go really in depth into this any further, I am going to certainly recommend that you use a CPA, a certified public accountant. They are a step above a regular accountant. We'll get into that as well further into this. But please, do not take everything that I'm telling you as the gospel. I employ a professional CPA firm myself, and I'm going to recommend that to you. All right. Now, my shop is a sole proprietorship. Me, myself, and I have no employees. I don't have workers' compensation. I don't need it. It's just me. All right. And again, hire a CPA firm or any legal professionals that you feel you're going to need in the startup or the undertaking of your new business. All righty. Because my situation, it may not be your situation. All right. First thing, you need a building. You're going to need a building or a structure on which to house the equipment that you're going to use to operate your business. My shop is separate from my residence. It's not attached to my house. Perhaps yours will be. Maybe you've got a walkout, you've got a split level, excuse me. Or you have an attached garage, something with a breezeway, whatever the case is. Your business is going to physically be attached to your home. Excuse me a minute. All right, well, for the sake of this example, we're going to say that your structure is attached to your home, your building in which you're going to conduct your business out of. And we're going to say it's 2,500 square feet. We're going to say that the space that you dedicate in your garage for your business and your equipment, regardless of what the CNC business is, milling, lathe, spindles, routers, laser, plasma cutter, whatever the case is, we're going to say that you operate at 500 square feet. Now, if you look at 500 square feet into the overall of 2,500, you are 1/5 the size of your square footage, or 20%. This percentage, in my case, is what offsets a lot of things. My CPA is able to take and give a percentage based on the square footage of my shop, and they use that to offset my mortgage, my utilities. I write a portion of all that off because I work from home. Now, we're going to get into, as far as utilities go, we're going to do a whole separate little chit-chat here about electricity. Trust me on this one. Perhaps your heating, security system, phone and internet, your insurances and upkeep to your home that you're working out of. A portion of this is all tax deductible because you do, in fact, have a business in your home. Okay, now my shop is separate from my primary residence. I told you before I have an independent heat source up there for my shop. I burn a closed propane heater so I don't lose any of my finishing supplies like my paints, my thinners, my stains, things like that. So my heating bill is now 100% a write-off. If you're working out of your garage, you may want to think about a vented heater in your shop. Put a propane barrel outside, because you might be using excessively more in your shop, and you're only going to be able to write off a portion of it against your home. Again, talk to a CPA on this. Now, if you have a separate loan versus what's attached to your house, either way you will be able to write a portion of your mortgage off and your interest. I personally don't have either associated with my shop. It was here when I bought the house. I don't have like an independent loan, so I take the square footage again from my shop. I write it off against the overall picture of my square footage of my property. Now, what I can tell you is this. If you're a renter, I'm not quite sure how that works out because I own this property. It's mine. You would obviously need to talk to your landlord. Again, you might be able to work out some type of lease agreement for a garage that's on the property. Therefore, you could get the write-off. All right. The other thing we're going to discuss is your home office. Mine, we're sitting in right now. This is by no means in my shop. What's nice about having a separate home office is dedicated space. I wouldn't say dedicate your great room in your house and you tell Uncle Sam that you're working off of a laptop and a TV tray, because he's probably not going to buy it. All right, my home office makes up exactly 10% of the square footage of my residence. So I'm able to reflect not only the square footage associated with my shop, but I'm also able to combine it with the square footage here in my office. So by the time you add the two of them up, I've got a decent offset against certain things. Utilities, mortgage, taxes, things of that nature. Now, anything that is purchased for your home office, computers, monitors, matter of fact, I got a new mouse and keyboard just yesterday. This will go against next year's tax write-offs and deductions. It's for business, all right? I also have to have the internet. It works in conjunction with the next topic matter, which is advertising. Perhaps you don't do videos like this, but you do use the internet for purchasing and sales and emailing and things of that nature. Well, you're also able to write a portion of that off, if not all of your internet. Office supplies, pens, printer paper, copier paper, hard drives, any of the peripherals related to the computer end. The TV that's on the wall, I use that because obviously you've seen me wear magnifying glasses most of my videos. I use that to watch any training videos. Alright, these are all deductions. Now, advertising. What is advertising? Anything that can promote you or your business. Business cards. Okay? A business card. These are a thank you for your business. They're like, I don't know what size exactly, but I include these with all the items that I sell online through retail or hosted stores online like eBay, Amazon, Etsy, any of them. It just says thank you for your business. It shows my client that I appreciate his patronage to me, and that's a deduction. Flyers, any ads you put in the local paper, perhaps you buy a little airtime on the radio or you advertise yourself on a cable TV channel, this is all 100% deductible. Door magnets that go on your vehicles, and we'll also get to vehicles in a moment. Those are deductible. Apparel, hats, shirts, pens, coffee mugs, sweatshirts, t-shirts. I don't think that you're going to get away with trying to write off 10,000 t-shirts or something foolish. Keep it legitimate, keep it reasonable. But these are all forms of advertising for you that are, in fact, a tax deduction. Alright, I told you we were going to get to utilities. This is the biggest piece of advice I can give anybody in the CNC field. When it comes down to electrical usage, because I work from home, this office uses a lot of power, my shop uses a ton of power, get a separate meter for your shop. Or somehow get a second meter. Because what happens, and what's happening to me right now, is every month I'm at a loss. I am at a financial loss because I'm only allowed to write off a portion of my electricity. I use probably 300% more than my neighbors because I work from home, I have a home office, I have a fab shop. I spend an exponential amount of money on electricity. I am, in fact, this spring in the process of putting a separate meter for the service up to my shop. Then I'll be able to write off 100% of my electrical utility usage associated with that fab shop, okay? If you're going to spend the money to put in a brand new building, to put your shop in, I cannot emphasize, spend a little bit more money, a couple grand, whatever it may be. I don't know what contractors get in your area. Have them come in, wire you up, and put a separate meter wherever it needs to be read by the fine utility folks, because then you will be able to write off 100% of your usage to that shop. All right, that's the best piece of advice I can give you. Vehicles, mileage, and travel. All right, I have a specific vehicle for the shop. It's nothing fancy. It's like a 15-year-old pickup, but it's utilized specifically for my shop. That's it. I wouldn't trust it to go cross-country in by any means. But all the repairs of the vehicle, tires, brakes, normal wear and tear stuff, cracked windshields, it is all deductible because that vehicle with a magnet on it, an advertising magnet on the door, little wood shop, is specifically utilized for business. Everything associated with the upkeep to it is a deductible. The automotive insurance policy is deductible. Like I said, I don't use the truck for pleasure. It's strictly a business vehicle. Excuse me. Record your mileage. This is another one, and I am as guilty of slacking on this as I don't care to think about. Last time I checked, the federal government allots you over 50 cents a mile. So in my case, if I have to go someplace to a big supplier or a big lumber yard, I'm going to travel 100 miles round trip, no problem. Last time I checked, I think it was roughly 52, 54 cents a mile is what you're allowed to deduct. That at the end of the year adds up. I can tell you that right now. Keep your gas receipts. Receipts. I can't stress that enough. Okay, your other travel expenditures will be gas. Save all your fuel receipts. Tolls, if you got to go through a toll on the highway, keep those receipts. If you have to park, if you got to pay for parking, hang on to those. Make sure they're all accounted for. Keep all your receipts for business travel. Write on the back of them with a pen, because it's going to slip your mind 8 months later. Oh God, what did I park here for that day? Okay, just make a quick note on the back of the receipt. Rental cars, rental trucks, maybe a box truck, a U-Haul truck. You know, I've got somebody who maybe just bought a half a dozen beds for me. He's got no way of getting them or picking them up. He's not too far off, so I'll rent the box truck and I will deliver them beds to him or her, so that hey, I can make a living. Taking a bus, depending on your situation, or a taxi, as well as your airfare. Maybe you got to go cross country. Keep your receipts. Keep a note of what they're for. All lodging. Well, if I have to fly from one coast to another, chances are I'm going to be spending at least one night. So save your lodging receipts. Keep your meals receipts, because you can also write off a portion of those. It'll be a bit of a reach here, but foreign travel. Let's say that all of a sudden, by gosh, somebody in another country sees your product, they want to do a sit down and they want to do some type of contract arrangement. Well, if you don't speak the language, you're going to need somebody who does. Well, they're basically for as an interpreter. You need somebody who can be fluent in not only your language but theirs. Okay, so I know it's a stretch, but everybody starts small and hopefully grows, and if that's the case, well, they're a deduction as well. All right, to sum this up and finish it off, We're going to talk about the 3 professional services right now and why I'm going to recommend each one of them. First of all is your CPA, a certified public accountant. They are very, very well versed in tax law. Every year, it is my understanding, every year, they have to go out and they have to be retested and take a test in order to keep their CPA license. Now, an accountant does not have this requirement. I use a CPA firm that basically incorporates CPAs, accountants, bookkeepers. It's a well-rounded service. See what's available by you, but I cannot insist upon enough that you do employ the services of a CPA, because the most important reason for employing a CPA is that in the event you were to get audited with the IRS, they can legally represent you, much like an attorney, which leads us on to our next professional service. Hopefully you never need one, okay? Now, the 3 main reasons I can think you'll need an attorney are these right here. Perhaps you have just fabricated, you're a metal fabricator or designer or whatever, and you have just made the next incredible thing that's going to change and revolutionize the world as we know it. You're going to need a patent lawyer. I personally know somebody right now who is going through the patent process, and they have spent a gazillion dollars. They have really, really spent a lot of money. Well, a patent attorney is going to probably sort that process out, expedite it along a little quicker, and it financially is not going to be as devastating as if you undertake it yourself. Okay? Second, well, unfortunately, and I won't stereotype any one product or CNC business, but we'll say that you've fabricated, you've made something, it has done either personal or property damage to someone, and you're going to be sued. Okay? Well, at this point, you are going to definitely need an attorney to represent you through the litigation process of all this. I would never think of trying to represent myself. All right? I don't know small business law. I don't pretend to. But I also do the research. I find business lawyers in my local area, so at least I know where they are. And if I ever look to undertake a product that I feel could pose some type of liability, I would rather spend the money, sit down and talk with a lawyer for an hour. It's going to give me a peace of mind as to whether or not to move on with that item. For the most part, I don't construct or fabricate anything like that. And then lastly, let's say somebody comes out of the woodwork and says, well, Mr. Smith, Miss Jones, we want to buy your shop. We want to buy the whole kit and caboodle. You're going to want to get an attorney to help you sort out the process of the titles and the agreements and signing off and receiving the monetary associated with your business, and to do all the legal paperwork end of things. You'll want an attorney. So between patent lawyer, litigation and law defense, as well as business selling, signing, and closing on one, that's where I think an attorney would come in best. And then the absolute last, promise, are subcontractors that you use. I don't personally have any yet, but let's say, I think I did this in the CNC project estimation. Let's say you guys, or you ladies out there, you fabricate metal things. Maybe you do nice metal signs, the elk and the mountains in the background, all out of sheet metal. You cut them out on your plasma cutter. You send them out to either a powder coat company or maybe a metal oxide company. Well, before you dedicate and commit yourself to any other subcontractor, make sure they fulfill a few requirements. A, make sure they have a business license. Even a sole proprietor, such as myself, you will be legally registered with the state that you're in. I am. I've provided a link to the shop, to my Secretary of State, where I spent the money to legally register my business. It offers you some it basically validates who you are and who you say you are, and that yes, you are in fact, in your state capital's registry of you know, that you are who you say you are. All right? The other thing to look for is you want to see if they have an EIN, which is an employee identification number that is assigned to them by the Internal Revenue Service. I really don't want to do business with anybody who is kind of skirting around the government. I just don't need to be part of that ball of wax in the event should this person get pulled into an audit. No, I don't need any part of that. And lastly, I would say make sure that any legitimate contractor is going to be able to provide proof of insurance. Personal liability is going to probably be the big one. I'm a sole proprietor. I don't carry any subcontracting services that I utilize right now, like I said, but my shop is insured. I do not have workers' compensation, but I would make sure that if you're going to have people going in and out of your shop, maybe delivering you things, make sure the business has workers' comp. Accidents can happen, all right? You don't want to get stuck paying the bill on somebody else's employee. And then lastly is vehicle insurance. If they show up on a company vehicle and anybody's got any legitimacy, I know paying insurance stinks. You know, it's an expenditure we don't want, but we carry it for a reason. So make sure that your subcontractors have an IRS EID number, workers' comp, vehicle insurance, as well as personal liability insurance, and this will protect you and your interest, all right? Well, this will do it for this particular whole topic matter on the business of CNC. I hope everybody got a little something out of it. Again, I am not a professional. I do not claim to know the law. I hire CPAs, I hire lawyers, and I hire legitimate subcontractors when I deem necessary in my life, all right? Everybody out there, my subscribers, my followers, thank all of you so much for your support. We'll see you next Sunday. You guys take care. Enjoy your weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.